The Darth Retro podcast is brought to you by the letter T. Uh, T, the letter. Okay, so I don't get good sponsors these days. Who doesn't? Haha. The Darth Retro podcast is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on intelligent subjects, but mostly just sports, music, and life. And now, here is your adorable host, Tom Wagner. And welcome back, fellow listeners. This is indeed Tom Wagner, or you can just call me Darth Retro. And I am taping this on a actually for once, and probably this podcast's history, which is almost about 2 months old. So anyway, and probably in the first time of this podcast's history, it's actually sunny out without any clouds in sight. It's a very, very, very beautiful fall day here on the old Fargo, North Dakota. I got a pretty packed show for you all today. We'll be talking about some NFL Week 3, kind of sort of a recap, and a little bit some controversy now that the Packers that were screwed on Monday Night Football. So I'll be talking a little bit about that as well. And then I'll be probably talking about a little bit of a pretty deep subject that I haven't really shared with a whole lot of people. I mean, not too much, not to a whole lot of people know about my. I haven't really talked a lot about my relationship with my father, so yeah, for those who probably haven't noticed, I have a Facebook page, and quite a few of my listeners are friends with me, and I posted kind of a photo of the meme overly attached girlfriend, and I don't know, personally, to me, I think that girl's cute. I mean, yeah, she's an overly attached girlfriend that probably wants to tattoo every single inch of her name into your body, but you know, she's cute. I mean, come on. I mean, she's cute. I mean, come on. What's not to like about her? I mean, come on. Come on. Come on, man. All right. Enough on that. That was sort of a little bit of a random topic to start off for the day. So, let's get started, or so, on to the first topic. So, here is the first topic, which was the week that was in the National Football League. It is this past weekend was the third week in the NFL season. Definitely quite a bit of some blowouts, some surprises, some not so surprises, some teams that really proved themselves to be definitely contenders. Some teams got screwed over. Well, actually, two teams, I suppose. But let's see, a little bit some surprises. Quite a few overtime games. 3 overtime games since the first time since I think it was the year 2010. So it's been a couple years since we've seen 3 overtime games in a single week in the NFL season. I'd like to first start off with Um, how about the Arizona Cardinals? 3-0, who absolutely demolished the Philadelphia Eagles. And yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed by the Cardinals. I mean, Michael Vick didn't throw a turnover probably in the first time since the season began, and I don't know. I'm still trying to get over the fact that the Eagles had 9 turnovers in those 2 games to start off the season, and then they were 2-0. And then at this game, Michael Vick didn't even throw for a single pick, and yet the Eagles lost. So maybe there's like some sort of formula or something that says if you throw a turnover, chances are the Eagles will win a game. So maybe there's some sort of theory to that. I'm not sure about that, but yes, Kevin Cobb was pretty good in that game. He threw for 2 touchdowns for 222 yards. A whole lot of twos in there. So a little bit of another surprise was the Minnesota Vikings and the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, I picked the 49ers to win that game, but somehow or another the Vikings got the best of their defense, which the 49ers defense looked like the Vikings defense of years past, which was pretty horrendous in itself. But Ponder had a good game. The receiving core had a good game. So I don't know if it was like a kind of a classic trap game or something, but it's. I don't think the 49ers did a really good job preparing for this game. I mean, Alex Smith, who looked pretty good in those first 2 games with the Packers against the Packers, and then at home against the Lions. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a trap game or not, but I guess you have to give the Vikings some credit. I mean they played pretty flawless in the game. So I don't know if the Vikings are that good of a team. I mean the Jaguars took them to overtime in week 1. So I don't know. Maybe it seems to me more of a trap game than anything. Because if the Vikings were good at home, I mean, they should have pretty much whooped the Jaguars in the first game. So I think it's more of a trap game. So I'm not trying to discount anything by the Vikings or anything like that, but I'm trying to disprove everything. I'm trying to disprove the hype, you see. So let's see. I guess I probably could talk about another game. And another game I thought would have been a little bit more better was the Tampa Bay and Dallas game. The Cowboys didn't really play all that great, even though they got a win, and the Cowboys are 2-1 on the season so far. I don't know. The Cowboys. The Cowboys are a little bit more of a strange team to figure out, but they're interesting. They're sort of like the Carolina Panthers. It's definitely hard to pick them. because the Panthers and the Cowboys have been so inconsistent, and so I don't know. Speaking of the Panthers, who got absolutely destroyed against the Giants at Carolina's stadium, and that score was Giants 36, the Panthers 7, and I seriously thought that the Cam Newton machine would have just kept on trucking through the Giants defense, but I was proven wrong by the Giants. So I don't know. Maybe the Giants will get back to the playoffs again. Maybe so, but that's kind of more of a maybe. But anyway, probably one of the best games of the weekend was the Steelers and the Raiders game. I mean, the Raiders. I mean, going into that game, the Raiders were 0-2. They had to deal with a 1-1 Steelers team that won a pretty big game against the Jets, and it was really a good game. I mean, the final score was 34-31, but the Raiders only won it from a late game field goal by Janikowski, I think it was. Yeah, Janikowski. Sebastian Janikowski, I should say. So it was. I don't want to say that the Raiders-Steelers rivalry is back, but it's definitely kind of cool to see those two teams play a game, even though that particular rivalry between those teams ended a few years ago. Well, actually 40 years ago. So, but yeah, I wish CBS could have shown that game instead of the Texans and Broncos game. But oh well. No worries, I suppose, but let's see. Another pretty good game, I suppose, was the Patriots, and the Ravens. And basically that whole game was about Torrey Smith, who basically lost a brother a short time before that game began, and basically played like a champion. Really good game from him, so pretty gutsy move for Smith to play for his brother, and basically his team won the game and basically backed him up, supported him basically the whole entire way. So it was pretty cool. So of course I guess I pretty much have to talk about the Packers and Seahawks game, even though it was basically rigged at the end, and it sucked. Basically going into that game, I kind of figured that the Seahawks were going to play. They were going to play their hearts out, and our offensive line sucked. Our pass protection sucked. We couldn't really do much on the ground game. The running game wasn't that good. Rodgers didn't really have that much time to get receivers. So basically our offense sucked for the first half. And definitely have to give credit to the Seahawks. The Seahawks defense. The Seahawks offense made the big plays when they needed to, when they had to, and basically the Packers should have played better. I'm not going to talk about that much either, but towards the fourth quarter, I'm going to talk about that next in the second topic of this episode. So yeah, it was a pretty crazy week in the NFL. So on to the next topic. So this second topic is basically geared towards basically the last 10 seconds of the fourth quarter of the Packers and Seahawks game on Monday Night Football. So, there were plenty of bad calls heading up to that final play. I mean, the roughing the passer penalty on us was pretty bad. I mean, I think by the time Russell Wilson threw the ball, there was certainly at least a second until he was tackled. So at least maybe a few seconds before he was tackled. So I was a little bit confused about that call on our defense, and then the defensive pass interference call, which should have been switched around to offensive pass interference, because I didn't see how that was pass interference on us, the defense. So I didn't get that call either. But so basically heading up to that final play. This is I was at Applebee's, eating an appetizer because I was a little bit more hungry than I was at that time, and basically what I had was spinach and artichoke dip, which is really, really good. You should definitely try that. So anyway, it seemed to me that heading up to that play, I wanted our defense to finally get a stop, to get out of this city with a win, because basically we didn't play our best game at all against the Seahawks, as we should have. So if we could have gotten a win with the score of 12-7, I would have been happy with it. So heading up to that play, which was your garden variety, the Hail Mary play. So Russell takes a snap, he gets the ball, everyone goes out to their routes. Our defense basically covers every single guy out there, and basically that whole entire play lasted 8 seconds, and I was praying to God that Clay Matthews or AJ Hawk would get Russell Wilson and sack him, so that this game would be over. But 8 seconds pass, basically at the 00 mark, which means the game is over. Russell Wilson throws the ball and then gets hit by one of our defensive people, which I think it was Clay Matthews who got the tackle against Russell Wilson. And while that ball is traveling across the field, things get a little bit hazy. In fact, actually, a lot more hazy than people think about it. But while that ball is traveling across the field, there's basically a group of players, both Packers and Seahawks players, including Golden Tate, M.D. Jennings, Sam Shields, and plenty of other people. So, as the ball is traveling across the field, Golden Tate, the Seahawks wide receiver, pushes Sam Shields to the side on his back, pushes Sam Shields' back, which, if the real referees, the professional referees that make the right call, would basically make that call offensive pass interference. I mean, it's not that hard to figure that one out from. I mean, basically, even a blind man would figure that one out. That you can't push offense or defensive players just to get the ball. I mean, that's interference. Either way you look at it, it's basically the word interference, basically to the very delicate detail. So if the real refs called that play offensive pass interference, then basically that play would have been rendered dead, and the Seahawks wouldn't have got the win, and the Packers would have gotten the win, and basically there would have been three teams in first place in the NFC North. But nope, we get cheapskate by the replacement refs. So anyway, a few milliseconds later, once the ball has traveled to the end zone, you see M.D. Jennings, the one of the Packers defensive players, grabs the ball, jumps up for it, and grabs the ball, and he has it by his two hands, which would make it an interception. And somehow or another, on the trajectory downward, because gravity and such, somehow or another, Golden Tate might have had a little piece of the ball, and somehow or another, once the players go down, basically one of the officials calls a touchback, which would make it an interception, and the game would be over. And the other official signals a touchdown, which would mean that Golden Tate had the ball all along, and basically the Seahawks take the lead and get the win. And my first reaction was M.D. Jennings had the ball. I mean, you have to be stupid or a Homer Seahawks fan to believe that, hey, even the Packers had that ball absolutely all the way, and basically the Packers get duped. We get robbed to win, and basically then the result for me is basically I'm not going to watch another NFL game until this BS between the professional referees like Ed Hockey Lee versus the NFL. I'm not going to watch another NFL game because of this bullshit. It's stupid. I mean, NFL, all they care about is money. All they care about is viewers watching the game, and the less people watch the game, then the less money that Commissioner Butthead Goodell gets in return. So up yours, Goodell. fuck you, Goodell. I hope he gets fired. This is a travesty. He's been all talking about all this. We have to protect the shield. We have to protect the product. Well, guess what, bozo? You're pretty much ruining the product. You're fucking it up. I mean, sorry if you get too offended by my language or so, but I don't like getting gypped. I don't like getting duped. No one does. It's basically the same for any NFL team. I would have. If that happened to the Vikings, I would have been like, screw you, NFL. I'm not gonna watch this bullshit on TV. So I'm pretty sure most people won't believe me on that, but I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the Packers, but I'm also a fan of the game. And if teams get duped by this, it's not fair. It loses so much competitive balance and loses so much credibility. As I previously stated in the previous podcast, it's a stupid league. Goodell's ruining the product that he is trying to save. It's screwed up. So even the referees made it a touchdown. The video booth made it a touchdown, and even the freaking league made it a touchdown. And it's completely BS. Of course you're not gonna over freaking rule the decision. You're basically choked up on your own pride that you're more of a coward to realize that you made a mistake, and basically I'm mad. So so you won't see me watch another NFL game unless this stuff gets resolved. I can't be an NFL fan. I can't watch a game without watching these refs ruin it for the whole entire league. Yeah, the replacement refs are humans, but even the replacement refs shouldn't even be there. Essentially the refs are these Division III referees who basically have other jobs. Yes, you heard it from me. They have other jobs other than being a referee for a few hours every day, or each day, or Saturday. They have other jobs. People. I heard one of the replacement officials is a history teacher. It's nuts. It shouldn't be allowed. It's travesty. It's bullshit. It's basically the worst thing that any team could happen. Basically any team can be the victim of this travesty. And I don't fully blame on the replacement refs. I do. There is some blame to it, but when you at the end of the day, you pretty much have to blame Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, for this bullshit. I'm pretty much done with this topic. So on to the third and final topic. Once again, I apologize for my language. I do have a sailor mouth, but anyway, I do apologize for the language. So, on to the third topic, which is basically the my relationship with my father. Um, you know, he. Well, before I really get into this topic, I should probably tell a little bit of a story. And basically, the story doesn't really deal with my father at first, but once you realize it kind of does. So, so about a couple of weeks ago, I bought a book um, for probably the first time since God knows how many years that I got a book uh, to leisurely read. And the book I got was the book of basketball by Bill Simmons, which is a New York Times bestseller, number one bestseller, I should say. But as I began reading that book a few weeks ago, I was reading basically how he became this basketball guru or basketball junkie. And basically, I read a little bit of a passage in the book. I'm not gonna quote it or so, but I'm gonna paraphrase it. And, basically, his father was torn between two choices, which Bill Simmons' mother was thinking that she was gonna divorce him, which I think they did, but I'm not sure. I have to read back on it, but basically his father was torn between two choices: getting a Morris motorcycle, which Bill Simmons' mother was pretty much uply against, or a couple tickets to a Boston Celtics game, which I'm trying to remember if it was Boston Celtics, but anyway. Eventually, he took his father, Bill Simmons' father, took him to a whole bunch of Bill Simmons, or excuse me, Boston Celtics games, and kept on taking to him to. So basically became kind of basically the best basketball junkie that he is today. So, and what she wrote that in a whole entire book, and basically kind of got me to thinking, and I didn't even realize it till I read it, that I think it was the Christmas of. I think it was like Christmas of 1998, or I think it was maybe 99. I think it was 98 or something, but Christmas of 98. I pick up. I take down. My stocking, which I was 10 years old at the time, so I take down my red and white stocking, and I look through it, and I get this envelope. I open the envelope, and it was basically a couple of tickets to a FMB's game, which the Fargo Moorhead Bees were a local basketball team from the International Basketball Association, which is now defunct. The franchise itself is also defunct as well. And for those who do not know, defunct is basically no longer operating, essentially, or extinct, if you want to go that route. So basically, my father, I basically had the choice to go to B's game if I really wanted to, and basically I said yes. Let's go to one. So that was pretty much the start of of me getting into basketball, and for pretty much a good season, I went to Fargo Moorhead Bees games with my father, and I enjoyed it. I loved the experience. I loved to cheer for them, the Fargo Moorhead Bees, and I still remember it fondly. It was a great time to be alive at that time. So I mean, the whole father son taking them to a sports event, it's special, and I definitely cherish that quite a bit. And basically, that was kind of the whole story of that I wanted to talk about me and my father. Um, Basically, my whole relationship with my father lasted for a good 11 years. Um, 11 years, 5 months. Let's see, well, November, December, January, February. Okay, so it's about 11 years, 5 months, uh, 2 to 3 days. So, so I only got to know him for at least about a good 6 years, or actually 7 years, because I didn't really know better because I was a kid. I mean, well, actually maybe 8 years. I only got to know him for about good 8 years or so. So, um, I didn't really get to know him on a deep connection. I didn't know him from a deep connection as much as I do with my mother, but um, if I remember right, my father was he was a proud man. He had I mean, he was a sports fan. He was a Vikings fan. He was a Twins fan. He was a Minnesota sports fan. Um, he was a pretty avid golfer. Uh, he did a lot of amateur tournaments back when he was. I think it was more of my age, I suppose, but um, he also liked to work with wood quite a bit. Um, see, I don't usually talk a whole lot about my father, but um, my father was my father. He was who he was. He was more of the opposite of me. He he loved to talk. He was into making stuff. He was into uh, wood wood crafting. He was. I got. Um, so really, from when I was 10 years old to about the day that he died, I I really started to really get to know him, and unfortunately, that was just such a short time that I didn't realize I never realized how much someone's life can be taken away from you. And basically, that day was um, March 18th of 2000, and basically that day was on a Saturday, and it seemed to me that Friday, that day before, I thought he seemed all right. He seemed normal, if I remember right. He cared quite a bit. So, I was into Pokemon at that time, so um, I used to uh, go to bed almost every night, noticing that he, I used to find like a Pokeball in my bed, and I liked it. I like at that time I loved the thought of that. So certainly I was pretty spoiled. I can certainly admit that. In fact, I'm more than willing to admit that. But I never knew that. I never knew that it would happen to me, but it did. Anyway, I suppose I could talk a little bit about more of another story. Um, Basically, that Saturday that he died, he sometimes in the overnight hours, he collapsed out of bed. My mother was shocked. She called 911. And basically, the whole ambulance came, and somehow or another, I must have slept like a log because I didn't hear a darn thing. And when I woke up, actually, I think it was my mother. I think it was my mother who woke me up, and she basically told me the whole story that my father had a heart attack sometime in the overnight hours, and that my father was gonna be all right. Uh, so I certainly believe that. Uh, I mean, I didn't really know much about my father at that time, like on a deep connection. But I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to live, and I didn't want anything bad to happen to him. So, so that day was the Roosevelt Carnival. Roosevelt Elementary School was my elementary school that I was going to at that time. Anyway, so I basically went into that carnival with the notion that yes, that he will be all right, and that he will get through this, and that was basically what I told people that asked me the question that, hey Tom, I heard your father was hospitalized. Is he gonna be all right? And I basically told them yes, he was gonna be all right. And so I basically went through the whole day believing that he was gonna be all right. And in terms of the carnival itself, I made quite a bit of a load, if I remember right. I think I won a bunch of cupcakes and such. I won quite a bit of stuff as well. So once 3 o'clock hit around, I decided to go back home, which was a couple blocks away. So it wasn't too much of a walk, but I walked back with my friend Cody, and basically once we met up with his at his apartment, basically I said, see you later, Cody. So we said goodbye, and my mother was at the end of the street, and she basically gave me the whole news. She didn't mention that at first, but she said if I remember right, she basically said, um, something's happened, but I don't want to tell you at this moment right now. Let's just go back home, and I will tell you about it. So I walked back with her and told about my day and how much of a load I got from the carnival. And once I got back home, I got the news that basically my first father, basically passed away at the age of 46. The age of 46. And I couldn't believe it. I was shocked, which pretty much anybody would have felt shocked at that point in any point of their lives, But to me, I was pretty much crushed to the core. I didn't know what to believe anymore. I didn't know how to live. I didn't know how to think how I was gonna go through puberty without basically having to learn from my father, who was dead, and I was 11 at that time. So, and I was devastated. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I certainly had relatives that died before. I mean, basically 2 of my grandparents died before I was even born, and one of my grandparents died when I was basically 6. So I didn't really exactly know what was exactly going on. So I didn't really know exactly what death was until, well, what death really meant. What really it meant until he died. So he, I didn't want him to die. So his death really pretty much turned me into the person that I am today. For better or worse, it changed basically the whole entire personality of mine, to basically this happy-go-lucky kid to basically this somewhat antisocial guy that pretty much most people know today. So, women have periods which are, they're pretty painful, and I totally understand that. But those things last for those things don't last forever. I mean, when you think about it, when you lose someone like a father, they're not going to come back, and that's basically what I have to deal with every single day, knowing that my father was never going to be there from that point forward. So I thought I turned out pretty good, I suppose, but certainly after his death, I felt survivor's guilt. I really could never have gotten over that survivor's guilt till about 12 years later, which around that time I I I really felt I really got the meaning of what um I kind of really dispelled all the survivor's guilt that I had. Basically, after my college graduation, which was in May of this past year, of this year actually, I meant, but I basically went to I picked 3 flowers. Well, actually, maybe it was 1 flower. No, I think it was 3 flowers. But anyway, after my college graduation, I pretty much went to Sunmart, which is a grocery store chain here in Fargo. I went to the uh, graveyard where basically 3 of my relatives were buried, and I basically dispelled all the guilt, the sadness that I had for the past 12 years, and I felt much better. I felt that a weight was lifted from me, and I basically promised myself that I would never ever feel such survivor's guilt ever again. So, um, that I would never ever feel such guilt again. Um, so yeah. In terms of this topic, I am pretty much done with it. Um, so for my listeners at Minnesota State University Moorhead, I will be at the chili feed from noon to 2 tomorrow afternoon, and then I will be at I will be doing I will be donning the mascot, which is Sammy the Eagle, and I will be basically also at kind of somewhat at the football game right outside Nemzik Hall on Saturday from 11 to 2 o'clock, which I think the 2 o'clock is the start of the football game, which I will also be there as well. So I won't be wearing the Sammy the Eagle costume at the football game, but you'll see me out there. So anyway, in terms of other news, I'm pretty much done. So I will probably talk to you all next week or so. So I will see you all later. Peace.